Good afternoon and welcome to Politics the Pulpit. Thanks for tuning in here to your hometown station on KHTS 98.1 FM and AM 1220. We have some breaking news right here in Santa Clarita. I'm going to turn the information over to Patty, our board operator, and he'll give you some information.
Hi everybody, this is Patty from KHTS. Just going to give you guys just a little update. Canyon High School is actually currently under lockdown, and that is due to one of their students stealing a car. However, the student has been apprehended already, so that is very good news. The campus is still on lockdown for all kids, just to make sure the school is totally safe. So still on lockdown until they get everything 100%. So that's why there's going to be a little bit of a delay on that. That will end up, that's still an unknown amount of time on that, but for right now, still on lockdown until they get it all ready. Back to you, Pastor.
Thank you, Patty. We'll be praying for those kids. We hope everything goes well. And who knows? Maybe the person that's in the car is probably Liz Cheney, still licking her wounds from last night's big loss in Wyoming. Yeah, what a segue, right? Cheney lost, and lost big. With 100% of the precincts reporting, as of just about an hour and a half ago, Hagman is at 66.3%, and Cheney is at 28.9%. That's huge. Now, I want you also to think about this. If it were not for Democrats crossing over to vote for Cheney in Wyoming, I think realistically her share of the vote would be more like 19 to 20%. Now, again, Democrats crossed over to help Liz Cheney in Wyoming, and the registration in Wyoming of Republicans and Democrats is 3-1. So there was no way that all the Democrats could cross over and help her out. But again, if you took out all of the crossover votes, realistically, her share of the vote would be more like 19 to 20%. Now, I want you to put that in perspective. Cheney won Wyoming just 2 years ago by over 70% of the vote. Donald Trump won the state by about 74% of the vote, so just behind Trump. But my, how the mighty have fallen. But not to worry. In Cheney's concession speech last night, she intimated that she would seek higher office. Now, she didn't quite say it like that, but it was very obvious that she knew she was going into the evening as a loser. And in fact, I think she knew that going into the primary for weeks because there wasn't a poll that had her up at all for the last several weeks. But the fact is she probably knew she was going to come up short, real short, and that she was probably going to then fill out the rest of her term in office until January of 2023, and then she's going to make probably an announcement to run for president, and then what will happen is she'll probably run as a Republican, and she's going to realize at the end of the primary that the Republicans don't like her, they mistreated her, and so in order to be a good spoiler, like 1992 in Ross Perot with Bill Clinton and George H.W. Bush, she's going to run third party. So we'll see what happens there, but then again, that's just my prophecy, my prediction. But yep, can you imagine all the signs sitting in your yard today, Liz for president in 2024? So with all that said, the other big news here locally, here in California, was the defeat of the Recall Gascon campaign on Monday. Of course, this result could practically be prophesied from the news we heard last week, where the county registrar, Dean Logan, there in Norwalk, would not allow the Recall Gascon team to simply observe the process of rejecting the names on the recall rolls. Now, let me just, for perspective, by way of review from last week, the Recall Gascon team submitted to the LA County Registrar 717,000 signatures to recall the district attorney. That is 150,000 more signatures than required to force that election. And again, the registrar had 30 days to verify that we crossed the 566, 857 signature threshold, which of course they did not, because as you know, as of Monday, close to 200,000 signatures were rejected. Now, of course, again, that could have been prophesied, and we kind of threw a little bit of cold water on the whole recall election last week when we read from the Red State article that Dean Logan would not allow the Recall Gascon team to simply observe the process of rejecting the names on the recall rolls. That's all they want to do. Every election, both sides would have their representation, making sure that everything is going according to plan. And Dean Logan looked at the situation and said, this is not a normal election, so normal election rules do not apply. So the recall guys couldn't come in. I'm assuming the other guys couldn't come in either. But of course, I kind of think I know who Dean Logan might have voted for anyway. But regardless of that, you Google on your own time some of the interesting practices of Dean Logan. It starts in King County, Washington State, and runs right here into Southern California. And really, there needs to be a thorough looking into Dean Logan and the county registrar, and I hope that would happen sometime soon. But let me just say also, the left is so good at giving the rest of us so much confidence in the election process. Keep repeating that leftist mantra that, of course, has been repeated over and over ad nauseum over the last couple of years. Quote, the most secure and safest election in history. And again, if I were to give advice to the recall Gascon team today, I would do what I could legally to fight this and run through each of those 200,000 names that were rejected by Team Logan, and I would verify each and every one of them and do a crosstab with their addresses just to see what's going on. Again, I wouldn't just throw in the towel. I would actually want to see and verify what they saw and verified. But of course, as you know, the LA Times has already written a bunch of articles basically telling us to just, well, move on. Robin Abakarian, I think that's his last name. Forgive me if I have got it wrong there. He wrote a piece entitled, quote, Gascon survives a second recall, and in it, it suggests we should just let him continue employing his woke wrecking ball on all of us in LA County. Of course, he doesn't say woke wrecking ball. I kind of editorialized there. But essentially, he's telling the rest of us who do not like Gascon, do not like his policies, give him the next couple of years. He's only been into his 4-year term, going now into his second year. And at the end of the 4 years, when he's up for re-election, then we assess whether or not we want to give him another shot. The problem is he's already done this much damage in just under 2 years, and who knows what in the world he'll be able to do in the next couple of years. I was listening to a local radio station here this morning on AM 870, one of our rival stations, of course, and there was a guy that called in real time in Long Beach where he was witnessing a crime happening right in front of his face. Then there was another guy that called in about 10 minutes later, just about in the same area, witnessing a crime happening right in front of his face. Again, that's all LA County. And one of the guys on the radio station was saying, well, listen, please don't call in with this kind of stuff because really this is just petty crime. And it's true. Guy was running out of the Home Depot with about $500 worth of materials, and all the employees could do is basically just yell at him. They couldn't stop him. In fact, according to what I have heard, they're not allowed to stop anybody that runs out with those kinds of materials. It's amazing that we live in a county, one of the greatest counties in the world, but also one of the most leftist counties in the world, where we just have to grin and bear it. Today's going to be an interesting day, other than talking about Liz Cheney's loss and, of course, the recall campaign that kind of went under on Monday. I want to give you a couple of quick shameless plugs here. Keep in mind, on August 28th at Freedom's Way Baptist Church, we'll be having our Meet the Candidates Sunday. We will have several candidates running for both state and local elections, even school board here in Santa Clarita and city council here in Santa Clarita. And that service will start at 10:30 a.m. If you want to know where Freedom's Way Baptist Church is located, please look us up on the internet, Freedoms with an S, freedomswaybaptistchurch.com. And you can check out our times, locations, and encourage you to come out to the Meet the Candidate Sunday on August 28th. After the morning service, we're going to have a meet, munch, and mingle with those candidates. And thankfully, Jersey Mike's has graciously donated some of their lunch for our event. And so we're going to have a lot of little boxes ready for you to open up and eat. So we encourage you to stick around to get to know the candidates, get to talk to the candidates. And even if you want to, you can donate to the candidates. Of course, it'll be after a church service, so you're not going to be doing it during the church service. Let me also mention that today we'll be talking about the new tolerance in our next segment. There's a lot of talk about tolerance. In fact, there was a lot of talk about my last show last week about some things I said that evidently weren't tolerated. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the redefining of tolerance and the new tolerance that is being promulgated today. And we'll do that here in the next segment. And then during the final 20 minutes or so of the show, we will have Congressman Mike Garcia from here in the 27th Congressional District to talk about the election coming up in November, ask him some pertinent questions, and see what's going on in Congressman Garcia's life. I can say, as a friend of Mike's, that he has been a very available congressman for most of his constituents here in Santa Clarita, and we appreciate him a great deal. And we'll talk a little bit with Congressman Garcia during our last 20 minutes of the show. So today, what I want to do very briefly is I just want to introduce this notion of the new tolerance that is being foisted upon us today. And if I could, I just want to define tolerance. Some of you probably think, well, why in the world would you want to define tolerance? We all know what tolerance means. No, you probably do. The problem is it's being redefined. The definition of tolerance simply means this: the ability or willingness to tolerate something, in particular the existence of opinions or behavior that one does not necessarily agree with. That's the definition of tolerance from yesteryear. Again, the ability or willingness to tolerate something, in particular the existence of opinions or behavior that one does not necessarily agree with. And it is amazing to me that we have moved so far away from that very basic Noah Webster definition of the word tolerance. Today, that word doesn't even bear any resemblance to that definition. And again, by that definition, the original definition of tolerance, I am tolerant. I'm tolerant of you. I would hope you would be tolerant of me. I'm tolerant of leftist views. I would hope you'd be tolerant of conservative views. I am tolerant of other religious beliefs. Hopefully you would be tolerant of my religious beliefs. There are some religions out there that believe that they are exclusive, that they are exclusively right. And I would fight for their right to believe that they are exclusively right. Now, I believe they're exclusively wrong, but guess what? They probably think I'm exclusively wrong, and that's okay, because that's called tolerance. But when we come back, we're going to talk about the new tolerance here on Politics in the Pulpit, and we're going to show you how they've been redefining not only that word, but all kinds of words, and what their agenda is going forward. You're listening to Politics in the Pulpit here with Pastor Jerry Cook on AM 1220, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220. Take care.
Choosing the right copy service was a top priority for John Hayes, owner of Hayes Plumbing in Santa Clarita. John's glad he called Sean Milligan at Professional Copy Service.
Well, once we found Sean at Professional Copy Service, we've been very, very happy. We started using him right after our factory warranty had expired on the current copier that we had purchased, and Sean and his guys have been far and above better than the factory warranty service.
Professional Copy Service, 299-5756, 299-5756. The only authorized Canon dealer for sales and service in Santa Clarita for Santa Clarita, Professional Copy Service.
We try to keep everything we can in this valley. We shop local ourselves, and we try to use any local merchant as possibly can.
Call Sean Milligan at Professional Copy Service, 299-5756.
Call Professional Copy Service immediately. They'll save you a lot of time and get your office staff back up to full production.
Professional Copy Service, Santa Clarita's only authorized Canon office equipment dealership. Ask about our free on-site demos.
You already know Salt Creek Grill has the best food in our valley. Well, now you can have Salt Creek's gourmet meals catered to your event.
I'm Greg Amsler, owner of Salt Creek Grill. I'd like to introduce you to a new level of catering, featuring our catering director, Tamara Levine.
Salt Creek Grill creates memorable experiences, which leaves our clients and guests with a sense of awe and excitement. From menu development to picturesque presentation, you'll enjoy culinary excellence and creative catering.
Salt Creek Grill, a new level of catering.
Helping lead the way to a greener future, all of Burtek's Santa Clarita Valley waste collection trucks run on clean-burning natural gas. Burtek takes pride in their community, and they've been serving the SCV for nearly 2 decades. Because at Burtek, we'll take care of it.
mental health hookup.
Oh, thank goodness. I don't know where else to turn. Some friends told me that you've been a clinical therapist for over 50 years and helped them out of a crisis.
Whatever mental health services you need, we provide, or we hook you up with someone who can.
Mental Health Hookup is dedicated to providing clinical support for adults dealing with serious mental illness. Speak to Barbara Wilson and her team at Mental Health Hookup today. 661-799-7994. MentalHealthHookup.org. Your source for adult mental health in Santa Clarita and beyond.
Embrace Your Smile has a team of top Santa Clarita orthodontists, Dr. Stephen Gilbertson, Dr. Peter Weber, and Dr. Megan LaCornu.
I think for me, what makes it stand out is when I have patients that come up to me and say, we have never been in a doctor's office that feels like this. Our team is a family, and we really get along, and we are really passionate about what we do, helping our patients get the smiles they want and deserve.
Dr. Megan LaCornu of Embrace Your Smile Orthodontics.
Embrace your smile.
EmbraceYourSmile.com.
A Royal Suite Home Furnishings has been family owned and operated in Santa Clarita since 1978. They keep America working by stocking heritage quality furniture made right here in the USA. With high-end design and thousands of fabrics to choose from, a Royal Suite offers a wide selection of furniture at incredibly low prices. Pay 0% interest with your approved credit for 12, 24, 36, or 48 months. See store for details. Visit A Royal Suite, massive showroom on Carl Boyer Drive near Sam's Club in Santa Clarita.
A royal suite.
Sweet dreams.
Hometown, your hometown station.
All right, welcome back to Politics in the Pulpit here on your hometown station on 98.1 FM and AM 1220 KHTS. We still have something happening over at Canyon High, so I'm going to turn this over to Patty here on the table to give us a little update of what's going on.
Hey everybody, this is Patty with KHTS, just giving you some news going on. At Canyon High, there's actually a lockdown in place in Canyon due to a student stealing a car. However, this student has been apprehended already, so that's very good news. Lockdown is still in place at Canyon for the kids, just to make sure that the school is totally and completely safe. So in the meantime, it will be on lockdown until they view it and deem it safe. Back to you, Pastor.
Thank you, Patty. And again, we hope everything goes out well and turns out well and all those kids get home safely. At the top of the hour, we talked a little bit about this notion of tolerance and really the new tolerance that is being introduced to us. And I began by defining the word tolerance. And again, just for the sake of review here, the ability or willingness to tolerate something, in particular, the existence or opinions or behavior that one does not necessarily agree with. We kind of grew up around different people, depending on where you grew up. Even, it doesn't matter where you grew up, you probably grew up around different people. And you just had to tolerate some things that you didn't like. I grew up in Bell Gardens for a short portion of my life, Southgate area, Cudahy, and a little different. Grew up in Fresno for a little bit, and then the majority of my adult life was in Norwalk. And there's just some things I tolerated. And there's some things that other people tolerated from me as well. He's on the line? Great. And so let me just give you these things here. By that definition of the ability or willingness to tolerate something, in particular the existence or opinions or behavior that one does not necessarily agree with, by that definition, I am tolerant. I am tolerant of leftist views. I loathe leftist views, but as an American, I will fight for your right to espouse those leftist views. As a tolerant Christian patriot, I would never want to deplatform nor cancel somebody merely because I reject their political or religious position. Even the most egregious rhetoric should be tolerated and allowed so long as that rhetoric does not cause one bodily harm or get somebody killed. I would hope we could agree on that. But the word tolerance has been summarily redefined today so as to not mean or even slightly resemble what old Noah Webster gave us. I would suggest that intolerance is the new tolerance. I'm going to state something here from Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20 in the Old Testament. Isaiah states this. He says, "Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter." That verse was written by the prophet Isaiah over 3,000 years ago, and Isaiah was saying then what is happening right now in real time. Somebody is changing definitions in order to fit the political, cultural, social trade winds of the moment. We are living in a day when intolerance is the new tolerance. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard somebody say this? I am intolerant of intolerance. I am intolerant of intolerance. The meaning behind that has become a sort of rallying cry for suppressing unpopular opinions. The new tolerance demands that we accept either the most popular or current view or the view of the most vocal group yelling that particular view. You know, he who yells loudest and he who yells longest gains the upper hand. You know, that old mantra. If you dare to believe differently, even in the slightest, then you will be labeled a bigot, or worse, a racist. You see, folks, those who hold to the new tolerance are very fragile. They are by definition delicate snowflakes. They cannot abide, not even for 1 second, anyone who would speak contrary to the cultural narrative being forced upon an unsuspecting public that is consuming it daily in all kinds of media ways. Tolerance, as originally defined, allowed for debate. Tolerance, as originally defined, allowed for disagreement. The new tolerance cannot abide even the slightest dissension in the ranks. Everyone in the new tolerance must march to the same tune. Everyone in the new tolerance must sing the same song. Everyone in the new tolerance must agree on the same thing. There's no debate, there's no disagreement, there's no dissension whatsoever. Now let me ask you a question. What does that sound like to you? Everyone must march to the same tune. Everyone must sing the same song. Everyone must agree on the same thing. No debate, no disagreement, no dissension whatsoever. It sounds like a cult to me. Now here's what's interesting. I Googled characteristics of a cult last night, and here's what I found. You can do this on your own. You don't have to necessarily believe me. But just Google characteristics of a cult, and here is what I found. Quote, unquestioning commitment, questioning doubt, and dissent are discouraged or even punished. Well, you might be saying, well, we don't punish dissent. No way. We're tolerant. It's okay. Well, sure you do. It's called deplatforming people or canceling them through social media and the like. You know, the metaverse. The Bible-believing Christians that I hang around are actually quite tolerant. In fact, they're so tolerant that when another faith group that they do not agree with comes knocking on their door, they answer the door and politely decline their religious material, and sometimes will even engage those individuals in conversation. Not because they agree with them, but because they agree with their particular religious belief. Now you say, why would we do that? Because they disagree with their views, but will fight for their right to espouse them in America. You see, I'm not a Jehovah's Witness, but I'll fight for the right of a Jehovah's Witness to continue to practice what they want to practice in America. I'm not LDS, but I'll fight for the right for the LDS to practice what they want to. It's called freedom of conscience here. And if the Jehovah's Witness or the LDS has the right to go to door, then I guess the Freedom's Way Baptist Church has a right to go door to door. You see the slippery slope? If they get barred from going door to door, then it won't be long before the Bible-believing churches get barred from going door to door. In short, the most intolerant people are the people who demand uniformity at all costs. Let me say that again. The most intolerant people are the people who demand uniformity at all costs. Can I say something to you? Even among Bible-believing Christians, we are not monolithic. Now, we are on what is called the core issues. We're all monolithic on those. But we're not a monolith. We have slight variations and differences here and there that are not substantive, but we have differences. Now you say, Doesn't Christianity demand uniformity? Maybe to Christ, yes. But we're not always going to agree on every issue, except, of course, the core issues. Now, here's what's interesting about the intolerant people out there who demand uniformity at all cost and will shut you up at all cost. They will cancel you and deplatform you in order to achieve their utopian nightmare. Why? Because they cannot abide a dissenting opinion that goes against the cultural trade winds that they are trying to purvey. Folks, beware of the new tolerance. Gone is the conversation where we can say this: we'll just have to agree to disagree. That was usually stated when people were about to go into an argument. We can't even do that anymore. We've come to the point where, unless you agree with me in complete uniformity, then you must be X, Y, or Z. Be careful of the new tolerance. Be careful how they're redefining our words. Teach the words as originally defined, and watch how those words are then viewed and redefined through the prism of the culture. You're listening to Politics in the Pulpit here on your hometown station, 98.1 FM and AM 1220 KHTS. When we come back, we'll be joined by Congressman Mike Garcia. We'll see you in just a minute.
There is only one language spoken at Thai Dish, and it sounds something like this.
This is great.
Once people get a taste of Thai dishes, there's really no reason to do any more talking. Make it full of flavor, make it delicious, only at Thai Dishes. Enjoy the atmosphere, love the food. Thai Dishes on Valencia Boulevard for free delivery, 253 Food. That's 253 FOOD.
Welcome to the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, where life-changing moments happen daily. Set out on safari and discover 1,800 acres of sprawling savannas teeming with wildlife, as well as world-class botanical gardens. There's no place like it on Earth. Encounter rhinos, giraffes, wildebeest, and large herds of wildlife roaming together. Journey through the bamboo forests and come face to face with Sumatran tigers. Hop alongside kangaroos and dive underwater to meet the only two platypuses outside of Australia and experience the awe-inspiring giants of Elephant Valley. When you're here, you'll discover adventure is in every moment, and a moment can change a lifetime. For your family's ticket to fun, visit San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance.org. That's San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance.org.
Support locally owned businesses. Shop for your pet supplies at Pet Supplies Plus. Pet Supplies Plus has everything you need and more with a wide selection of food, services, and supplies. Curbside pickup is available, or have your over $35 order delivered locally for free. Need your pet groomed? Pet Supplies Plus offers full grooming services and a self-service dog wash, cat adoptions every Sunday, and dog adoptions every month. Vaccinations and training classes are also available. Locally owned and operated Pet Supplies Plus, located next to Old Navy in the Valencia Marketplace Shopping Center. Go to PetSuppliesPlus.com.
It's time to enhance your natural beauty at Hestia Medical Spa. Select from a large menu of services, including an assortment of fillers that can be used in the face, lips, hands, and a variety of other body parts. Get rid of that double chin with Kybella, an injectable treatment to permanently destroy fat cells under the chin. Hestia Medical Spa also offers Botox, Dysport, and Xeomin to help reduce severe frown lines. Experience rejuvenation at Hestia Medical Spa. Call 753-3434 or go online to HestiaMedicalSpa.com.
It's like no other station I've ever listened to. It's great.
Your hometown station.
Good afternoon and welcome to Politics in the Pulpit with your holy host, Pastor Jerry Cook, here on your hometown station, 98.1 FM and AM 1220 KHTS. As we have been following over in Canyon High, things are starting to kind of calm down, but we're going to turn things over just briefly to Patty as he gives us a quick update.
Hey everybody, this is again Patty with KHTS, just giving you a little the rub of what's going down at Canyon. Canyon High is actually under lockdown due to a student stealing a car. However, this student has been apprehended already, so that is very good news. But due to this event, Canyon High is still on lockdown for everybody, and they're doing that just to make sure they go through protocol and procedures to make sure everything will be safe so that they can lift it and whatnot. So in the meantime, it is still in lockdown. Back to you, Pastor.
Thank you, Patty. And again, we do hope that all the students get back safely, and parents as well, and that young man, hopefully everything is okay with him. What we have on the line with us today is Congressman Mike Garcia from our district right here in Santa Clarita. And so, Congressman Garcia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Pastor. Good to hear from you, and thanks for having me on your show. You sound great.
I know. Thank you. I appreciate that. Don't tell
the
Paul
holy
Chappell
host.
that.
I like that.
Yeah, exactly. Don't
Yeah.
tell Paul Chappell that. Let me ask you a couple questions, Mike. In terms of just the fact we're only about 90 days or so out from the midterms, from your perspective, what is the state of the race at the moment for you?
Well, it's looking good for us. You know, this is always going to be a tight race, and for those of you not familiar, I'm running for California's 27th congressional district. This is the congressional seat at the national level, so I represent roughly 750,000 folks in Washington, D.C. in the House of Representatives. And it's not just Santa Clarita, but also Acton and Agua Dulce, your neck of the woods, and also pretty much all of the Antelope Valley. And then to the south, also a good chunk of Granada Hills and almost all of Porter Ranch. So it's a very diverse and eclectic demographic in our district, and it actually models the demographics of the nation right now. Very bipartisan, very split right down the middle. It's leaning blue right now, so as a conservative Republican, it does mean we need to communicate a little more. It means we've got to work a little harder and earn that vote. And we've been blessed to be in office now for over 2 years and doing God's work in D.C. and being able to not only represent but also fight this very far-left progressive policy that's been coming out of this Pelosi agenda. I'm running against the same gal I ran against the last two elections. In May of 2020, I ran against Christy Smith for the special election. And then again in November of 2020, I ran against her as well. And slightly different map, a little bit more blue this time, but you know, we've won a lot of hearts and minds as well in the last couple of years since taking office. We've done amazing things for our constituents on the official side, and we've got even more volunteers and more energy in our campaign than we did in the last two elections. So I'm confident that we're going to prevail, but we don't take anything, for granted. We always work like we're a couple points down, and we continue to get our message out, and it's very important times right now, obviously. So we've got to fight hard.
Well, hopefully this the third time's a charm, and we'll kind of put an end to Christy coming back every couple years to try to unseat you. So, Lord willing, this November we'll kind of put a nail in that coffin, figuratively speaking, of course. But obviously, as you'd mentioned, we've been through the redistricting here. We're in what was originally purple district, now basically trending blue. How will you, to try to pull in non-Republican voters but still maintain your constitutional conservative bona fides, Mike?
Yeah, so I mean that's been the platform from day one. You know, I didn't grow up with a GOP hat on or an elephant on my shirt. I grew up with an American flag on my hat and just a love of country and a desire to do what's right for the country. So, look, I've crossed party lines on several times. Folks can visit my official website to see where we've done that. But my vote is always in the interest of the country. It's always in the interest of the Constitution. Frankly, both parties at times can be dysfunctional. And so this is about the Constitution for me. It's not about the party. I actually, and I think you've heard me say this a few times in several speeches, but I believe we need weaker parties and stronger leaders to run for office. And the more of those that we have, the better. I think the Republican Party is blessed to have good conservatives and veterans who want to continue to serve their country like myself. But in the end, I sleep well at night because for me it is about God, country, family, and I have constitutional foundations under every single one of my votes. And even folks on the far right or the far left disagree with those votes sometimes. But the key is to be able to communicate a little bit more often. And when you have a district like ours that is effectively a full spectrum kind of district in terms of policies and politics. You just have to communicate more often. And what happens is, while people may still not agree with you, they at least understand it. They understand that there was a rationale behind there, and in the end, it's hard to argue with the Constitution, and that's usually where most of my arguments stem from. So that's how you earn the respect and hopefully earn the vote, even of folks who are, not Republicans, and especially that middle third who really don't associate with either party. They're very important right now, and they're the ones really deciding these elections.
I was able to listen to your speech last week that you delivered at the Reagan Library for a time of choosing. I think that was the theme of the speech, or not necessarily the speech, but at least the theme of the whole summer. And I think you did use that line, smaller parties, I think you said, and stronger individuals, whatever it was you said. But it was a good line, and I noted that, and then you mentioned it again here on air. So I appreciated that. And by the way, great speech.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, that was a huge honor to be able to speak in, our Graceland, which is not Elvis, but Ronald Reagan's library there in Simi Valley. I'll be losing that with the new map, but just a tremendous honor to sit under the old Air Force One and be able to have that discussion. If folks haven't seen it, you can visit the ReaganFoundation.org website, and they've got a clip of that there. It's about an hour long, but a good speech and something that I'm proud of. I write my own speeches just as you write your own sermons, and I take pride in those. And it was a huge honor to be able to participate in that.
Well, amen to that. And let me also say that I remember the first time I brought my family through the Reagan Library some years ago. That of course it was under the Barack Obama administration. So I was going through there, and I remember feeling at the end of the 3.5 hours or whatever it was I spent there, just a longing for good moral leadership coming,
Yep.
Just pressing those little buttons and hearing those little excerpts from those great speeches that he gave down through the years, and just longing to hear a conservative be able to convey those ideas in such an articulate manner.
Yeah, very soothing, therapeutic deliveries, and it's like having that favorite uncle tell you it's going to be okay, and that's what our country needs right now. We need more of that, and someone who's actually going to get things done. And we clearly don't have that right now under this current administration.
No doubt about it. Let me ask you a personal question, Mike. You went into Congress to fill out the rest of Katie Hill's term back in 2019. I'm sure we all have, guys like me on the outside looking in. What is Congress like? What is it like to be around some of these guys that have been in office for a great many years? What was your idea going in, and what of that idea has been blown apart or has been solidified in your mind as you've been rubbing shoulders with some of these guys now for a little over 2 years?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I grew up, and as an adult still, I read a lot about our founding fathers, John Adams, Washington, Jefferson, Hamilton, Madison. I read about, at great length the discussions that they had and the debates and the deep dives that they had into, at the time, it wasn't even a nation. It was simply them trying to build this country up. And so I went into Washington, D.C. with sort of this preconceived notion that that's what we did as legislators. You stayed late. You were in the halls of Congress debating things. You were trying to hash things out and come up with solutions. And while I was eager to do that, and I still am, you can see our office lights on, late into the evening with my staff and I and other members trying to move legislation forward. But that is not the normal mindset out there in Congress right now. And so I was taken aback by just how little the individual members do. By the way, it's not, both sides of the aisle. I think some people are very complacent and frankly comfortable in their positions. They don't have tough primaries. They don't have tough general elections, and they get used to the office. And this office, if you want it to be, can be the easiest job in the world. If you don't care. And I think, that's been the most disappointing thing is they're not the hardest working folks. They're not the most intelligent folks. They do represent their districts in many cases. And so while we may not understand it, when you visit their districts, they are representative of those districts' policies and what that district believes in. And so that's very important. But we can be so much better if members of Congress would just work a little bit harder, if they would, try to negotiate compromise and without violating those core principles that you talked about earlier, but still, figure out how to move things forward in the interest of the country. And right now, there's too much power with the leadership of the parties. Very, very little legislation since I've been in Congress, or almost 2.5 years, has actually gone through committees with the rank and file members of Congress. Most of this stuff is being negotiated by Pelosi and Schumer and McConnell and McCarthy, what they call the four corners, and their staff, and then the rest of us just vote on it. So that's been the disappointing part. But the potential is there. We just need the right people to run for office, and I'm encouraged by the candidates running this cycle.
Yeah. Let me ask you another personal question, considering you'll be, running for re-election here, and the desire, of course, is to get you re-elected for another 2 years. But, one of the things that happens in ministry is pastors try to maintain a good marriage and try to maintain a relationship with their kids and try not to show any hypocrisy. Obviously, we don't want to be one guy on Sunday as a pastor, then be someone completely different on Monday, because our kids can smell that, and that might turn them off to some things. And of course, we don't want to neglect our wives either, because our wives are very integral, especially in my ministry. I know that. But explain the importance of maintaining your marriage and your relationship with your kids, all the while representing the district as congressman.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult. I mean, with the tempo of this, I'm physically not present, anywhere from 40 to 60% of the time. And when I am home, I'm trying to get out to the Antelope Valley and Granada Hills, Porter Ranch, parts of Santa Clarita we don't normally visit. And so there really are no days off. I know that in the end, what I'm doing is setting an example for my kids and my family, and I know that my wife supports it, and it's having her to have to carry a little more load than she would normally have to, but it is for the good of the country. And it's a sacrifice. I wasn't home for the death of my grandmother a couple of years ago. I wasn't home for the death of my father a couple of weeks ago, and missed my son's birthday a couple of days ago. So, but these are sacrifices that we go in eyes wide open to. And in the end, when you are home, you just have to focus on making it quality time, and being there as much as you can. Not just physically, but also mentally, and try to, just be that normal dad rather than being the congressman in the house. And, you still got to be down to earth and humble. I still take the trash out every week and, do my chores around the house, just like the two boys do, Preston and Jet. And in the end, this job isn't a long-term career. This will be over when it's time, and in the end, it's our demeanor in the midst of these stressful environments defines us, and so we've got to make sure that we maintain that.
Yeah, how can folks find you on the web, Congressman, and how can somebody donate to your campaign?
Yeah, thank you for that. We can. Our website is electmikegarcia.com, and you can sign up to volunteer. You can. Sign up for yard signs. It's that time of year again where we can put our yard signs out. I'm just tickled pink, and humbled by all of the signs out there already. And I know it feels like every 3 weeks we've got these signs going up, but we're in that season again. And also on the website, you can donate. And every dollar matters. Every dollar donated to our campaign, whether it's $25 or $2,900, we use that money very effectively, very efficiently. And we don't take that responsibility lightly. So this will be the most targeted seat in the nation. Nancy Pelosi will spend roughly $20 to $25 million against me for just this seat. She's done that the last 2 elections, and she hasn't gotten a return on that investment. And we need to spend a lot of money as well in this LA market. So
she
need
must
all the help we can get.
She must think you're really worth it, Mike.
Yeah, she's not a big fan of mine, and that feeling is definitely mutual. But she's got to be banging her head up against the wall, and she's going to lose the majority. She's been abusing her majority. They will lose the majority now this fall, and so this is why it's important. And these swing seats make the difference. These tougher districts that can go either way define the majority. It's not Texas or Florida that determines who has the majority. It's these swing seats in states like California, Arizona, and Pennsylvania that do that. So very important to support us. Electmikegarcia.com.
Amen. Well, one last question before we let you go today, Congressman, and it's just it's probably the most important question that you could probably answer, and that is just tell everybody, just be frank. Who's your favorite pastor?
I'm going with Frank. How about that? No, you and Pastor Chappell are my
Oh
favorite
man,
pastors.
I'm not going to let Brother Chappell hear
it
that.
It is possible to be tied for first. So,
That's good.
And you need to be tolerant of that.
Oh my goodness, thank you. That was good. You used my own words on me. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Congressman, thank you for calling in today, and we do love you and we support you, and of course, I'm just thankful for your availability down through the weeks and months. And, of course, we'll see you, Lord willing, in a couple weeks for our Meet the Candidate Sunday on the 28th. And I think Pete's got that on his calendar, I hope. And
yeah, I believe so.
And so we'll see you then. And, Lord willing, until then, Lord bless you, my friend.
Thank you, Pastor. Take care.
Bye-bye. That was Congressman Mike Garcia. We'll be back in just a few minutes here on your hometown station, KHTS.